Hello, this is Gaiash, and I, like many before me, have decided to take part in this 50 books challenge. Now, if you're not familiar with this challenge, what you do is you read 50 books in 1 year. And I also decided to review the books I read each month. So, here we go. The first book I read this month was Harrier History by Melissa and Ellie. This book was really good. I heard a few things about it. Of course, I've listened to a podcast in which one of the main hosts is Melissa, so I heard a lot of things from it there, and I thought I should definitely read this at some point. And I thought this was the perfect opportunity to start reading this book, and it was really good. If you are a Harry Potter fan, you definitely have to check this book out. It is the sort of book you will really enjoy, even though it is not a fictional story, which I mostly read fictional stories. I'm not so fond of, hearing facts, but this is definitely an exception to that. So, good. The next book I read was Marvel Civil War. Now, I've heard very mixed opinions on this storyline in the Marvel Universe, and for good reason. It is very hard to decide whether I like it or not. To be honest, I just think it's a very interesting impact on the Marvel storyline, and I'm quite disappointed that the biggest impact it left was then erased by the Marvel Devil. The next book I read, The Tales of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling. Now, if you've read, again, if you're a Harry Potter fan, this is definitely another book you should read. Anyone who's read Deathly Hallows is probably familiar with the main story of this book at the very end, and it is actually very good properly reading that story and all the other stories that are in this. I really urge that you read this, even if you're not a Harry Potter fan. It's still a selection of really nice short stories. The next book I read, I think I read, or it was read to me very long time ago when I was very young, and that is of course Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. I really love the Winnie the Pooh stories. I mean, I literally grew up with Winnie the Pooh. I was a little baby, and the first thing I got was a stuffed toy of Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh has been a major impact in my life growing up, so naturally I had to read a Winnie the Pooh book along these lines, and of course I had to start with the original Winnie the Pooh story. And I will at some point, probably next month, read The House at Pooh Corner, which involves the introduction of Tigger. Finally, the last book I read this month was Death Note, Another Note. Now, anyone who's read or watched Death Note might remember that there was a case mentioned where Elle and Naomi Misora worked together, and this is that story, and is very interesting. It has that same compelling nature of the Death Note stories and the traditional detective novel style. So it is definitely a good book for anyone who's read Death Note or watched it. If you are a fan of detective novels normally, this is also a good book to read, but it's best to be familiar with Death Note beforehand, because there are a lot of references to the main story despite it happening before it. And with that is the books I've read in January. I'm not sure what I'm going to read next, but I'll mention it in my next video, my next video of this kind, which will be at the end of February. So, see you then.